Welcome, lads and lasses, to Dan Ventures Out. Today we're at Kentlyn Basin, checking out the walking tracks, looking at the Georges River, and seeing an awesome waterfall here as well. Join me for this epic adventure just northeast of Campbelltown. And just a quick reminder to like, comment and subscribe to Dan Ventures Out to see more from me. And without further ado, let's get to it. We're here at Keith Longhurst Reserve, and the place has really changed. We've got dedicated parking bays here, cut sandstone for the walls, and a nice new sign. A little bit of information here. Apparently there are actually 4 tracks you can walk on here. I was under the impression there was only 2. So we've got here the Old Ford Road, we've been on that before. And we've got the Basin Trail, again, been on that before. The Ridgetop Trail and the Hearthland Loop. Information about the local Aboriginal people, the Darawal people, who are very prominent in the area out in Campbelltown here. So the path behind me here would go down the Old Ford Road, which I've done before, and you can check out in the link above. It was actually my very first ever video uploaded to the YouTubes. So if you want to see what I was like when I first started, check it out. And today we're going to be heading down to Kentlyn Basin, which we have been to before as well, but I would like to revisit it. So the track down to the basin here is about 2 kilometers return, 1 kilometer each way, though it is a medium to high level of experience required for the walk. So it is loose gravel on the ground. It says there's also flat rock surfaces and a whole lot of stairs later on as well. Should be cool to revisit this awesome place. Forgot something very important. Whenever you go on a walking track, make sure you take a photo of the map, because like with a lot of places in Australia, when you're going out bushwalking, there's no reception, so you cannot really look up where you are and see walking trails and landmarks as easily. So I'm going to go back to the sign here and take a photo of the walking trails. Alright, photo acquired. Now I can continue our trail. Well, it's halfway through whacking on some sunscreen. I've just walked past the Banksia. Got the Banksia flowers here. Some of the older ones there. A few on the floor. Cool. Rub the rest of this sunscreen in. How do I look? Oh, fantastic. There we are. Well, we've finally come out on a lovely cool day. We've got a top of 24 today. Must be the coolest day this year so far in Australia, at least one that hasn't been raining. And yeah, we're going to take ourselves down to Kentlyn Basin and check out all that it has to offer. And we'll learn a little bit about the place as well. That must be to the loop track it talked about, but we're going down this way. While we're walking down to the basin, we are going to keep our eyes out for the local wildlife. Depending on the season and weather, there can be koalas, goannas, a range of bird life, snakes too as well. We're also going to go through a little bit of history of Kentlyn. So it was originally inhabited by the Darawal people, TH. It was settled in the 1890s by farmers, and it was known for its rural farmlands and the like. Interestingly, in the 1930s, during the Great Depression, the area here near Kentlyn, it became a refuge for a lot of people, and it became very similar to a shanty town. The area here was originally given formal recognition in 1933 as Kentlyn, 2 words. As urban development surged in Campbelltown during the 1970s, the area here at Kentlyn was designated a scenic protection zone in the hopes of preserving the native bushland. So the reserve here was also originally known as Kentlyn Basin Reserve and was changed in 2007 to Keith Longhurst Reserve to honour a local ranger and a descendant of one of the original families here in Kentlyn. We have a small split here. That way continues on our path. I think this might go for a bit of a lookout. We love looking out at things. So let's go have a quick peek. We've got a bit of a cliff behind me. Even more over here. Ooh, and from here I can already see the water just straight down there. Looks nice and still. So basically, the basin is in the center of a huge valley. How cool. Ah, here start the stairs. These ones are simply cut sandstone. And I remember reading it up about how many stairs there are. Anyone want to pose a guess? Leave it in the comments below. Whew. You can really tell how high up we are here. And there are cliffs on both sides. So that was the left side of the track. Just earlier was the right side of the track. So we're on kind of like a peninsula almost of mountain here. I'm gonna go down towards the basin from here. And some cool flora around here. Look at that. Got some gum leaves and flowers. Cool to see koala up in a tree up here. I reckon we're a little too high to see them. Down there's the basin. And if you're really quiet, I can hear the water running. Got a little bit of a rope swing on this side still. Can't believe it's still here. I was here last time we came. Lovely. There's one good bit of advice for when you're walking near cliff faces like this as well. Try never to get closer than your height to the edge of the cliff. So say you're 1.7 meters tall, try and stay 1.7 meters away from the edge of the cliff. You know, one thing I'm really surprised about is the lack of birds around this area, or maybe on this day because of the weather. It's really quiet. I would have thought they'd be out here in droves. I've got wooden stairs starting here and sand. From here we can start to see it through the trees. The basin looks really full from here, but I can still hear water running. We'll see how we feel when we get closer. Well, damn, my recording just cut off because my battery overheated. It's taken me about 10 minutes to get it out because, I don't know if you can tell, but it's overheated and expanded. So it got stuck inside the GoPro. How annoying. This must be one of the older batteries as well, but I don't know why they expand like this. Like, it's physically, I'm able to squish it in and see a difference in the height of the battery. So that's a big problem. I guess I've recorded a fair bit in these last few years. Anyway, let's keep going. I've had my break now. Ah dear. I'm sure you can tell behind me how steep these stairs actually are. Look at that. You know what, it actually looks better in person. You can see more of the lake right there. It looks like the trees are in the way. Seems like we need to get right down there. No problems, I will be there soon. Don't forget to put in the comments how many steps you think are here. I'll give you a little hint. It takes me about 5 minutes to get down the stairs and 15 to 20 to get back up. Now we can hear the water. Quite see it yet. It's over here to the right, I think. Oh, nice. Oh, I got about 10 steps left. Looks pretty nice. This side is Waterfall side. Ooh, nice. And this side is the basin as well. Well, that looks awesome. How cool. Well, we have a seat. I'm gonna sit here for a minute, listening to the sound of this waterfall. Wow, this is nice and peaceful, albeit quite loud. So this body of water here is actually all connected to the Georges River. As we've seen, the Georges River starts all the way at the sea, or the ocean if you like, and where we are now is the furthest we've been along the Georges River. So right here we could be 60 kilometers away from the actual ocean. I think we're definitely several kilometers away from previous spots along the Georges River. We've seen Simo's Beach, which is actually that direction down the river. Past Liverpool Weir we get to Simo's Beach. Past Simo's Beach we get to Liverpool Weir. Two places we've been to together on this channel, which is really cool. It's amazing that it's so still on the right side of the river here, and how it picks up speed towards the cliffs on this side. Really cool. Now I'm looking at the water here in this particular spot to try and see how deep it is. Thought it might be cool to try and get to the other side today. I think it's safe enough to give it a go. I've got my water shoes. I'm going to slip into those and see about getting across. There we go. Let's see how we fare. Now I am going to be really careful because I can see a lot of moss along these rocks here. Well, here we are, in the middle of the Georges River. It's actually really shallow. Doesn't even go up to my ankles yet. So get nice and slow over the slippery rocks. Yeah, very slippery. And here we are on the other shore. Awesome. Considering where we are, about halfway between Campbelltown and Liverpool, this is super cool. Must be one of the only waterfall sections along the Georgia River. Certainly the only one that I know of right now. This is curious. I saw this metal wire from up in that tree across the water here, and I was trying to figure out if I could get to it and have a look what it is. Well, I'm here, and I don't know. If I had to guess though, it almost looks like a flying fox. Someone put a flying fox here maybe? I'm not entirely certain. This is another cool view of the basin. So for reference, if we follow that part of the river far enough, you will get to the Liverpool Weir, then to Simmers Beach, then to Liverpool Weir. It looks like it would be very narrow and shallow going that way. I had thought of maybe doing a kayak or canoe all the way from like the weir to here or something like that, but it looks like it'd be very, very shallow. You'd have to walk for a lot of it anyways. But still, pretty cool. Pretty cool indeed. One thing I'm particularly disappointed in is all the rubbish. I don't know if you can see just over here, just over there, there's rubbish. There was a bag of sausage, leftover bag of snags over there, drinks, plates. I'm really, really disappointed in people's ethics when it comes to leaving rubbish behind. Can't be that difficult. I'm sure you brought all this stuff in a bag, put it back in your bag and take it home with you. Really. So I said as I crossed the water here that the water didn't even get up to past my ankles, which is still true. I made it the whole way across. However, you can see higher up on the rocks on this side, there are pools of water, stagnant water, that obviously has been here for ages. So it makes me think that the water here is affected by the rain. So I imagine this collects all the water from all the surrounding areas, kind of like a dam, right? And floods this area in heavy rainfall. And that's the point of the weirs, I would imagine, as well. Because it got me thinking, why would there be two weirs on a single river? What would be the point of that? I think it'd have to be flooding or an overflow. See, this part of the river looks like you get a paddle on. It's deep enough. I'm not really sure how far it goes that way. Ah, awesome. I love how natural it feels here. It literally feels like I'm out here by myself, which I have been. There was two ladies here on a hike. They left just as I was coming down, and they're the only people I've seen. It feels like I'm out here exploring all on my own. Really cool. All right, I'm gonna let my feet dry. You know what, I'll do them now. Feet are out, let them dry off. I hope the waterfall isn't quite so loud that you can't hear me. If not, I'll throw some voiceovers at you instead, so that you can hear my lovely voice instead of a lovely waterfall. I'm really glad I've come back here to check it out again. It's very similar to when I came here last, actually, which was just over 2 years ago now. And what prompted this was I wanted to see how it felt to come back to my earlier videos and redo them, basically, and do them in the style that I now have. It's very much changed, I'm sure you'll be able to tell. One thing I've really changed about everything I do before I go to any place is I do a little bit more research than I ever did before. I like to check out a little bit about the history, and I like to see what kind of things are around the area, where they link up to, that kind of thing. It's pretty cool to know these things, just for myself as well as the viewers, you guys. I think it really helps not only inform people of the history of the places I'm visiting, but it helps me, myself, learn about the world we live in, right? So it's just really cool. Well, time to head back. Oh, what a lovely place, look at it. We'll even go further out, look at that. Man, how beautiful this is. It's maybe one of the nicest places I've ever been, and it's so close to the west of Sydney, right in the heart of it really. Awesome. Alright, now I know a few of you have been sweating on how many steps there are, so let me tell you. 213 steps to get back up. As you can see, I have already started and I can already feel it in my knees. Just have to take a few little breaks on the way, I think. Yeah. Oh, this is a nice looking banks here. Look at that. There's actually another one right next door too. Realistically, they're all around me, but these are closer. Oh my days. Oh yeah, this is a rest point. Oh, the knees don't love stairs apparently. Taking myself a little break already. I do think I'm halfway up, but still, hi-ya, there's a lot of steps, man. And they're so steep. I'm just sitting here. You can see how steep these steps really are. Anyway, I need to keep going, otherwise I might not get home today. Alright, well, stairs are pretty much all done. Still gotta get up. Oi. Some of these rock faces, but I don't know, for some reason I find them a little easier than stairs. So I really do like the Keith Longhurst Reserve walking tracks along here. And there's only one thing that's a little bit annoying about these walks, and there is zero facilities. Well, now there's a little bit, there's some bins at the car park, but there are no bathrooms, no chairs, no tables. For our walk down here, plenty of rock faces you can use as a makeshift table, but bathroom facilities is a little tricky for some. Yeah, not much you can do about it, just have to plan ahead, I guess. Other than that though, oh boy, a lovely walk, lovely view, just great. Another thing to keep in mind about this walk down to the basin, it is not for the inexperienced, I would say. Though I've done it before, it is a reasonably tough walk, especially those stairs. And the whole way back to the car park is inclined as well. Much slower return. Just something to keep in mind before you start trekking out. The other thing is to make sure you tell someone where you're going before you get out here, because there is no reception here. So just make sure to stay safe when you're traveling out on your own. Alrighty, well I've pretty much caught my breath now. There's been a little less incline recently, so I've been able to catch up my breath. Had a little bit of water. Nice. Still on a lookout for the local wildlife, but it has been very scarce out here today indeed. I imagine it's because it's a bit cooler than normal. The Australian weather is often quite hot, and that's when all the animals come out to play. So obviously I didn't see any snakes, even lizards today, too cold for them. Thought I might see koala, little koala, if you like. Something interesting about the basin here is it's actually quite close to Woronora Dam, another dam on my list to visit. It's probably only about 15 kilometers away as the crow flies from the basin, so it's south east of our area here. However, to get there by a car, you have to go 65 kilometers around, all the way through like Canterbury's area, through the M5, or all the way south, like coming up from near Wollongong area. I can't remember what that area is actually called. Down that way anyways. So you have to go around Holsworthy Barracks to the north, or Darawal National Park down to the south. There's no way through in the middle, which is one of the big reasons I haven't yet investigated Woronora Dam. This return trip is much more difficult. definitely inclined about 80% of the way back, which, I mean, it's a little bit rough, but I think we're getting closer now, finally. Not bad. I see the cars. That means we're almost back to the car. Woo! Well done, Danny. Well done. Well, now that we're back at the car, oh, give yourself a hairbrush, mate. Jeez. I'll give you my little review of the area here. Really did like the walk. Just had some fella come past. He's going bird watching. He's got himself a nice camera as well. Yeah, so a really nice walk. Very steep walk. That's probably the biggest thing to consider before you leave. Be prepared, bring plenty of water. Probably need sunscreen as well. Hat, sunglasses, that kind of thing. Be sun smart about it. But yeah, lovely, lovely, lovely waterfall. And the basin itself too. Just a little, almost like a little hole that has been slowly dug out over time by the running water. And it's just become bigger and bigger, and then there's just tiny little streams on either end. It's really cool. It's so cool to have that out west. I know that sounds a bit strange, but we're in the west of Sydney here. And I don't know, it always feels cool to come across these little pockets of nature, I would call it. Little pockets of nature, especially with the Georges River still running through it. The fact that it goes along so far, and we've seen so many cool spots along the Georges River now. It's really cool. Again, the only, you'd call it a kind of issue, is the lack of bathrooms here and tables and chairs. That would be the next like elevation of the area here. Although I think it is a protected zone, so I'm not sure you're allowed to build that kind of thing, except for perhaps near the car park here. Anyway, thanks so much for joining me on this adventure. If you like what you've seen here today, please leave a like, comment and subscribe to Dan Ventures Out to see more from me. And we'll catch you the next time we venture out.